Hey y'all, welcome back to the Oasis podcast. How y'all doing? Yeah, it's a deep exhale because today is part 2 of the home buying process. And as you all can see, the title is The Saga Continues because it does. But before I get to that, it's a few weeks into the new year and I'm already over this year, y'all. I'm already over it. Like, I don't even want to do over. I don't know what I want, honestly. I'm just already over it. I'm tired already. If you all listened to previous episode that I did with Vision, we talked about the new year, and my new year typically doesn't start until February. So not February just yet, even though when you guys hear this, it may be February, it may be a little later. But I'm just not there mentally, y'all. I'm just not there mentally. I don't know if that's supposed to be an emotional connection to New Year, but I ain't there either. I'm just, right now, I just feel like I'm going through the motions right now. It's not really purposeful. And maybe that's why my outlook is a little bit bleak, blah, whatever you want to name it right now. But I hope you all are doing better than me. Hope you all are doing well. Knocking out some of those goals already, keeping up with those goals, keeping up with those things that you wanted for the new year. So I recently, if you go on the Oasis podcast Instagram page, I recently posted, I posted my 2019 vision board versus my 2020 vision board. And I thought, doing the vision board, completing it will help me kind of get like a handle on getting things done for the new year. And I mean, granted, I'm sure no one took like a microscope to it or a magnifying glass to it to kind of see what the goals were, but it was a huge thing for my 2019 to find a home. In my 2020, it's on there, but it's like a small, like little portion of it that says home. And again, that could probably mean a lot of things because that's really where my brain is right now about this home buying process. It's a goal I definitely want to accomplish, but it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. And it took a lot of energy out of me for 2019. And I literally focused everything into that. Like, literally, I wasn't as social as I typically am, or rather want to be. And that had to do with, saving money and making sure that, my credit was good, and just pretty much making sure that all my energy was going towards this home buying process because it really did need all my energy. I took trips, but not as much as I typically would take because going out and looking at homes took time. So I had to make sure I was available for those weekends or whatever days that, we were going out looking for places, and also making sure if we did find a place, if we put an offer in, not planning anything too soon because, you have to do inspection and you'll have to do that, just making sure I was available so that if anything popped up that I would be there. And so that made me not really plan a lot of things especially towards the latter half of the year. And I'm not doing that this year. Nope, I'm not doing it. I am going to live my life and home buying is going to be secondary to that. My goal this year is to find my joy, and that's powerful for me because I feel like I've been moving not from a place of joy. It's been from a place of, getting things done, from a place of checking off boxes. And not that I'm unhappy, because I think there's a difference between being happy and knowing joy. For me, I am happy. I'm content with life. I don't really have a yearning for anything major, if that makes sense. So, and I'm not unhappy because I know what unhappiness feels like, and I'm definitely not that. I just do feel like I want to feel something more. I want to feel joy. And to me, joy looks like, and it should feel like for me, I guess I'm explaining it, what it looks like. And at the same time, what it looks like is also how I think it should feel. And that should feel like a little kid getting that thing they always wanted, or a little kid getting some ice cream, after a hot day. And that look on their face, how excited they are, how happy. I want to be like that, like every day. And I know that's a huge task, but I think that's accomplishable. And I really think that it's a matter of me changing my perspective and how I think about things. And so I'm taking steps to find that joy. And I know that I find joy in traveling, so I'm definitely doing that. I find joy in going to shows, I'm doing that. I find joy in going to concerts, so I'm doing that. I find joy in spending time with certain people because I can grow from them. We can laugh, and just being social with certain people, of course, it brings me joy. And I'm doing all that. Any way that I know I can bring joy to myself, I'm doing it. And home buying does not bring me joy. And I'm just like, you know what? It is a priority though, but it's not gonna be in the forefront for me this year. And yeah, and I know my boyfriend isn't happy about that. Like, he kind of is picking up on that, and he doesn't want me to let go of the goal. And I mean, granted, we're still getting to know each other, so he doesn't know that about me, because I know a lot of people, they'll, try to accomplish something, they can't do it, they just put it to the side, and then they're like, forget it, and they never do it. I'm not built like that, and I think he thinks that might be the case, and I'm nowhere near built like that. If I have something that I need to do, trust it's gonna get done, unless I completely scratch it off as something I don't want anymore. But if I still want it, it's gonna get done, but it's just not gonna be a priority for me. And I'm gonna give you all the rundown of how I got to this point. And essentially, So I think the last episode, I can't remember 100%. I feel like it was in November or early December. I can't remember. Or in December sometime, where I talked about, finding a place and kind of going through that process, waiting for an appraisal. So, y'all, okay? So appraisal came in, and this house is a whole $100,000 valued less than they're trying to sell it for, right? And for those of us who may know, that's a hell to the no. And those of us who don't know, so a seller, an owner, can list their house for as much money as they would like. $1 million if they want to, like whatever, 3-6 million, doesn't matter, right? However, if you are getting bank funding, meaning you don't just have $1 million just hanging around, right, to pay them, you have to go through a process. And part of that process is getting an inspection to to look over the house, make sure there's no issues in the foundation, leaks, roof, appliances, all that, to make sure that, to see the status, or the status of the house, essentially. That report then goes to the bank, and an appraisal happens, and they send someone else out. They look at, all that stuff that was put in an appraisal. They kind of second check it in a way. I mean, the inspection, they'll second check it, but then they also do an extra piece where they do comps, which is essentially comparable sales. So they look at houses that are similar to the one that you're buying in regards to square footage, in regards to rooms, bathrooms, etc., to see how much those houses sold for recently. And that's how they come up with a number. And so the house I was buying came up to a whole $100,000 less than what the owner was trying to sell it for. Now, a bank is not going to be okay with giving you an extra $100K for a house, because essentially, and then you shouldn't be okay with it either, unless you're like, yo, this is my dream house and you want to take that L. I say by all means go for it, but I ain't about that life. And what that essentially means is, so when you have a home, and again, I'm not an expert, but this is from my understanding, you want essentially to buy a house where you not necessarily getting it for a steal, but you want a house that has equity already, meaning that it has some value to it without you even being on the property, without you having to make any renovations or anything of that nature. Equity is just essentially money that the house has accumulated on its own. If you are paying someone $50K, $100K more than what the house is worth, you're literally giving away money. Because now there's a time span that you have to sit on a house or be in a house, whatever the case is, for it now to rebuild back that money you essentially lost, because that's a loss at that point. And that doesn't make sense. I operate from a very logical place, and I'm not giving away money just to say, oh, I own a home. I'm not pressed to move. I'm not pressed to be in a house. It's really just a goal of mine that I want to accomplish, because I've had it on my to-do list for 3 years, and I wasn't willing to do that. And so the seller wasn't willing to negotiate either. So instead of like, oh, okay, fine, not the whole 100K, but they wasn't budgeting from 80 more. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? No, goodbye, sir. Like, and so that's what happened. I walked away from the deal, and I have no regrets whatsoever. So that's that. That was in December. That was a huge bummer. It was a bummer. Even though I know it was the best thing to do, it was kind of like, damn, I was revving up for that whole experience, revving up to move and like get this done with so I can go to the next phase of life. And it didn't happen, and that really freaking sucks. Not only that, but you have to shell out your own money for an inspection, and that shit ain't cheap. And so I really just shelled out X amount of $100 for nothing, essentially. And that also fucking sucks, because that's money that you're not going to get back. And that is the risk also that you take when you're going through the process. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to quit. I just shook it off. It was like, all right, let's keep going. So go back out there, find, keep looking. And it took a little while. It's just like, I didn't really care for anything. And then, but also from the lesson learned, I was more intentful, one, with the type of properties that I actually, went ahead and make, like, to look at. But also, when I found something that I liked, I had my realtor do some legwork. And that included, talk to the realtor, to the seller's realtor, find out what the deal is, right? Like, if my realtor and I felt that the house was more expensive than it should be, we acknowledge that. We're like, okay, this is more expensive. I said, okay, cool. We know this. We know it's not going to appraise for the amount that they're asking for. No problem. Now, are they aware of that, right? So having him talk to the seller's realtor, hearing kind of what the realtor feels and what they think, kind of what page the owner is on, if they're willing to negotiate or not, where they stand. So, that helped kind of not waste time, essentially, for a few homes that I did find that I was like, oh, I think I might like this, because when we did the extra legwork, it was like, oh no, okay, they're on some bullshit, oh no, whatever the case is, like, all right, you know what, it's not worth it, no problem, let's move on. So let's fast forward, and then fast forward to recently, we find 2 places actually, place A and place B. Place A, beautiful in a great area. Oh my gosh, so much land, so much room, just beautiful home. It's a home that you can see yourself being in for a little while, see yourself raising kids in. It's a beautiful home. Like, boom, all right, we need to jump on this, let's do this. And then home B was, oh, this is also nice. It's comparable to home A, but it's comparable, but home A still took the cake. So, all right, boom, we go ahead, like, all right, let's go ahead on home A and home B. So I was like, let's just go in there. Just, boom, put an offer on both of those joints to see what happens. Because at this point in the game, I know just because you put an offer in doesn't mean it's going to go your way. So putting multiple offers in won't hurt, essentially. And so we go ahead, and I think my realtor even submits the offer, again, I said, there's this due diligence that we do now. So he calls the realtors of both homes. He calls the realtor of home A first, The realtor tell them up. Somebody put it offer in. The owner grabbed it up. They're already out of freaking. Excuse me. They already are out of, what do you call that? Oh, what is it called? Well, I'm gone. I'm in a blank. Attorney review. And which happened hella fast because it's only a day later, right? But sometimes it can happen that way, right? When someone wants to really sell, especially if it's an investor, sometimes they don't want to have the property sitting there because, again, they'll be losing money, or they just want to sell it and move on. So they were really on it. So boom. Okay, fine. So only option now is home B. All right, same thing. He calls the realtor, starts talking to the realtor. Hey, this home is not worth this. You know, my client is interested. What's the deal? Yeah, realtor understands the home is not worth that. The owner is a investor, and the realtor is like, you know what? If you want to talk to the owner, cool. So my realtor talks to the owner. Owner is quote unquote confident that the house would appraise for that amount, but willing to negotiate if it doesn't. Oh, okay. Cool. Like, no sweat. No problem. Awesome. Offer in, do the whole shebang, and we're in attorney review. And so, like, on my end, we submit what we need to submit. Cool. And we're waiting. And we wait. So attorney review can be anywhere from 3 days to whatever, I guess, you agree to. So our timeline was 3 days. So it's literally the third day, and that's when we finally hear back from the seller's attorney. And guess what? They on some bullshit. So it's like, bruh. Oh my God. Like, what I'm noticing is a lot of these homes are being bought and renovated by investors. What I'm also noticing about that is that these mofos, they are really greedy people and entities, whatever you want to call them. And it's really about the bottom line, really about the buck. They're literally buying these homes for like $50K, $100K, $200K at most. They throw in $100K for renovations. I really highly doubt $150, max $200K. But yet you want to charge triple that. What is wrong with you? Like, I understand wanting a profit, but getting 100% back on your return, that's amazing. So why do you need to exceed that? Like, why does it need to be 200% back, 300% back? Like, and that's the frustrating part about it. You know what I mean? And like, they operate as if it's not people buying the homes, because they're essentially are entities buying it, renovating, and they're selling it. And they're selling it to people. They're not selling to other investors, but they're operating as if they are. So they're operating as if they're selling it to people who have 200K laying around, and they can just slap it down. If that was the case, I would have built a home from the ground the fuck up. Like, I don't understand. But it's frustrating. And yeah, like, to kind of get your, even if, like, I'm not a person who gets like hopes up. However, I am hopeful, right? And it's like, all right, let's do this. Let's hope it works out for the best. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you're still disappointed when it doesn't work out, And it's draining. Going out, looking at homes is draining. That process, okay, you find the home and you gotta, like, there's a process that goes, before you even put your offer in. And then when the offer goes in, and it's like, that process is draining. And this is before you even move in, before you get the house. And then your mind is also racing about, okay, if I do get this, now you got to plan out moving. You got to plan out buying furniture. Like, it's just so many things, and your brain is going this way, that way, up and down. And it's a lot, and it's beyond frustrating. And I'm a little bit over it. And I'm trying to, for me, before I get to a place where I'm just like, fuck out of here, like, I'm completely done with it, I want to pause, take a step back to reevaluate. So that's the place that I'm in right now. I'm like, I need to re-strategize. I need to either look at a different area or downsize, you know what I mean? Like, kind of scale down what it is I'm looking for, or even wait a little bit longer. Something, like, I need to figure out what is going to help me stay in the game and get what I want. But but I haven't figured out what that is just yet. Because time does play a factor. It plays a factor on the interest rates. It plays on a factor on your pre-qualification running out. So it's like all these things. There are timelines to these things. So you don't have a lot of time to sit and twiddle your thumbs or sit and think. And so I'm at that space with I need to focus. I need to rethink what is happening, why it's happening, what can be done different. Even though I really know there's a big portion of it that's not in my control, I do want to look at the parts that I can control and how I can reduce my stress or reduce whatever it is I'm feeling about the process. And that's kind of where I'm at. I wish I had better news for you all, but I don't. And it's the reality of the situation. Some people can go out there and they find their homes really quickly. And then some people, it takes months. Like the person who does my brows, he said him and his wife were looking for a home for 8 months straight. He said every Sunday they were out looking for a house, looking for a home, 8 months straight. Yeah, I think I beat him, but at the same time, I've been kind of going through the process for 3 years, but not actively looking as much. I think since last year till now, it's going to be 6 months. So I'm running up on him soon. I'm running up on that timeline real soon. But that's it. That's the update right there. Really trying to figure out what the next steps are. Trying to figure out how can I approach this differently. If anyone is listening and they have any advice, please, please. I am all ears. I would definitely take it. I definitely want to not throw in the towel. But if that's something I have to do for the moment, I will. But it's not something I want to do. It's a have to, not a want to. So that's that. That's the update. So again, the saga continues. I hope the next time I am having a home buying episode, it's really about, okay, y'all, you know what? We're going forward. This is what's happening. I can give y'all a closing date. I hope that's how it happens. But if not, that's how the cookie crumbles. For today's Connection Corner, I share with you a post from someone on IG that I follow, a group called Black Hustlers Club. And it reads, "The best thing about life is that everything I've ever lost has been replaced with something better. I never lack. I just transition." Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Oasis Podcast. I hope you were able to find something that resonated with you on your journey. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and like us on Instagram at the Oasis Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, direct message us on Instagram or email us at ajaysoasis@gmail.com. Again, that's AAYJAYSOASIS@gmail.com.